You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast in history. And this place needs an enema. We're talking about Batman 1989. Let's go. Oh, I've been waiting to talk about this movie. It's such a piece of crap. I can't wait.
What?
All right, so let's introduce the panel today. We've got Patrick, our first time back since Killer Clowns. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah?
I'm glad that I'm here to actually talk about a bad movie this time.
And you were a big fan of Killer Clowns.
I mean, I was, but it's also bad.
Right.
But, there's a difference between fun, bad, and...
But now we're talking about one you really
this.
hate. Right.
Yeah.
Now you can cut loose on this piece of garbage. All right, perfect. And the other two people we've got in the room are two bona fide Batman fans, and they carry their bona fides right on their skin. They both have Batman tattoos. That's how much you
true. Yeah.
How much you love the character. So, Bob, welcome in. And wait, is that Bob? I can't tell. I shouldn't assume. Are you Batman?
I'm Batman.
Rocking the cowl.
I am rocking the cowl too. My cowl's being repaired.
Perfect. And then Kurt.
Hey, how are you,
Mr.
sir?
Batman.
I love Batman.
No one loves him more than, at least people I know, you and Bob. So that's why we had
That's
to
what
have
your
you.
mom said.
Oh, whoa.
Are you excited to trash Batman 1989?
No, I don't. I'm very confused. I thought that I watched the wrong movie. Are you guys talking about? You're talking about Batman 1989, Michael Keaton,
The
right?
one with Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Yeah, this is a great movie.
Wait, what did you watch? What did you think we were doing?
I thought we were doing Batman and Robin.
I'll choke him out right now if you want me to.
No.
Hold on a second. George Clooney had nipples on that bat suit.
That's
and
right.
You think that was the bad one?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, Robin had nipples.
It's revisionist history, okay? What we're trying to do is set the record straight. For a long time, they trashed Batman and Robin, but that is way better than whatever this was.
Guys, I finally got to do the whole Arnold Schwarzenegger bit. This did not make the movie any better.
All kidding aside, you actually watched Batman and Robin?
Yeah, I thought that's the bad one.
No, it's not. I mean, that's what people think, but it's not.
You gotta be kidding me right now.
All right, look, let's get into the vitals. We'll get the vitals out of the way, and then, have you seen? I guess before we even press pause here, have you seen Batman 1989 enough that you can talk about it?
Well, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I mean, it's a gem.
It's something.
Like
I don't know.
It's like the perfect Batman movie. It's what started it all.
Pump the brakes.
I mean, unless we were talking about Adam West Batman.
No,
guys.
Let's be honest. It took a lot of testicular hubris for these guys to think that they were going to improve on what Romero and Adam West did.
Legends. Come on.
And then you're going to use Michael Keaton and Jack.
Guys,
Nicholson
carry a
golfer
bomb
or something.
Look at me. He thought he was in a Martin Scorsese movie or something.
I can't get rid of this bomb? What? Come on.
All right, hang on. Let's
horrible
get
one.
into this because I want to hear what you have to say. I do, but not really if you're going to praise this movie. This movie was directed by Tim Burton, which is the first thing wrong with it. Okay, we're going to make a Batman movie. Let's get the guy that made Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes.
Right? That sounds like a good idea.
That's phenomenal.
I love Casablanca.
Batman, he didn't direct Casablanca. He directed, at this point, basically just Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Your mom's Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, and Beetlejuice, too, which is why Michael Keaton ended up in it. So it stars Michael Keaton. I'm surprised that Winona Ryder and the rest of the cast of Beetlejuice isn't in this, too, because he always uses the same people.
Would have made it better.
Why isn't Johnny Depp in this movie?
You're
right?
going to tell me Beetlejuice isn't a good movie, too?
Trash.
Oh, my... What?
Jack Nicholson was in this, and then Kim Basinger, who was the best actress in the movie. The movie it was written by Warren Scarron and Sam Hamm. This is, now, for most of the movies we talk about, this is not normal. We have a $35 million budget, which is cheap for a summer blockbuster.
That's why it sucked.
That's where you could tell
you pay for
how low budget it was. Right? It looked like you could just breathe on the sets and they'd fall over.
This is the Aldi's of superhero movies.
I am dumbfounded right now. I have no idea that why are we talking about this movie?
Well, I'm gonna spend the next hour and a half explaining why it's bad. Box office, though, was $411 million
Well, the 80s.
in 1989 money. So what is that now? $3 billion,
Something like that.
right? With inflation,
That
$3 billion.
should show that it's a good movie.
Oh, well, look, a lot of people went and saw, a lot of trash.
Right. Crack was in high demand in the 80s.
That's right.
We didn't really have great taste back then.
Wait, are we going to talk about 1989? People were making good decisions. Is that what we're trying to say?
Cocaine and pre-workout.
That's right, Batman. That's right. They were all hopped up on coke and pre-workout. Movie currently sits at a 7.5 on IMDb, which should be inverted. I think it should be a 5.7. Right?
7.5 is trash.
Are you seriously going to do Batman the entire show?
Absolutely.
Bob, I don't know if I could deal with that. Okay.
Tell me when you want me to cut it off.
All right. Well, like in two more minutes, I think the joke will have run its course. It's got currently a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 84% audience score. That can't be right.
Guys,
I think it's reversed. I think it's 48%.
guys, those are all good numbers.
I know.
I am baffled by this.
Right. But again, like
Why?
taste.
Like Captain Marvel. Rotten
ahead,
Tomatoes
Patrick.
was hacked.
I mean, let's think about it. Full House was a good show, allegedly, if you go by the numbers.
That's what I'm saying. People are
80s.
buffering it up now. Like in the, at
Right.
then, everyone
Bob
knew it was
Saget
trash.
was a god.
Where did Batman go?
Bob,
Is that,
welcome.
that guy, is that the guy that ran out of here?
He just did
guy's
that thing
not
where I
bad.
turn
There's
around
no
and
way.
Batman's gone.
There's no way. Hi, guys. Hi.
Now I know what Commissioner Gordon feels like. He turns around.
That
Where'd he
guy-
go?
I don't know. I just saw a guy ran out of here wearing a flannel
It's amazing.
apron or something.
All right, so I'd like to hear, this is the point where we just get everyone's overall impressions of the movie. So I feel like you should go last because I kind of know how you feel already, Kurt, if that's okay.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Let's start with Patrick. Patrick, what'd you think of this movie?
Abysmal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I would start. I would start with, like, you got washed up guy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest trying
Yeah.
to be a villain.
Right.
Mr. Mom,
Right.
you know?
Like you're going to hire a crazy killer and you think Jack Nicholson?
Right. You know, like, I don't know. It was poorly written. It didn't make any sense.
Right.
It's like, oh, let's go back to the 1940s or whatever and pull a storyline.
Right. So was it the 40s? Was it the 80s? You couldn't really tell what was going on.
Right. Jack Palance. Who's this guy?
Oh, God. He was acting like he was chewing the scenery. So overall, you'd give it like D minus?
Yeah, I'm feeling generous today.
Okay. All right.
oh
All
my
right.
God, I can't even.
Bob, what do you? I know you love Batman, but what do you think?
Batman Robin was better.
Thank you.
I can't believe Bob.
Why in God's creation do you let Vicky Vale into the Batcave?
Okay, thank you. That's one of about
That's
a
that's
thousand reasons
no,
it sucks.
No disrespect to women, but that's a no woman zone.
The Batcave.
Yes. It's
Right.
a no woman zone.
Until Alicia Silverstone comes in the Batcave. I mean, I was cool with that because Batman and Robin.
because I wanted to see that
was
close
great.
up
Right.
buttock leather,
Right. They lingered on about 3 seconds longer than was necessary.
It's better than the codpiece shot.
That's
but,
what-
but you can't get the codpiece shot.
They had to water. They had.
there was
to
no
do a
codpiece
yin
shot,
and yang.
Kurt, in this movie.
So you're saying
doesn't need
if
to
they
be.
had
Or nipples.
and cod
What?
pieces, you would have felt better about it.
It was a belt, chest, and like, hold on, I'm gonna tilt my head up in this 70-pound. There's
Yeah.
like, oh yes, squint eye.
Okay.
Bats are mammals. Mammals have nipples.
All right, here's what I'll say.
legit.
That's true. Thank you. Let's have an
can't-
anatomically correct bat.
Yes.
Okay. Batman.
And why did the Batmobile look like a penis?
That's another great question.
Look at
That's
it.
what it looked like in Batman and Robin.
Here's what I'll say.
It lit up at the end.
It looked the
better.
Batmobile and Batman and Robin looked like an actual car. There was one in 1989 looked
Can't-
like an actual.
I can't right now.
All right. Look, we've talked about a lot of bad movies.
Unreal.
Okay. This is our, 48th episode, right? We've almost got to 50 episodes. I would say that probably 46 of them have been better than this movie. I'd say maybe Spy Hard and Garbage Pail Kids were worse than Batman 1989. I even like Killer Clowns from Outer Space better than this. I mean, the acting was better, for one.
So were the special effects.
The plot made more sense.
Yep.
Right?
We should have ditched
The special
this.
effects were better.
We should have ditched this zero and get with that hero.
That's all Cool as I'll watch Cool
Guys-
as Ice 15 more times
Guys,
before I
you
watch
sit there
this
and-
again.
Jack Nicholson,
Yeah.
The Shining
But that's a better movie that I'd rather be watching.
He was great as a bad guy.
We can just keep naming good Jack Nicholson movies. I mean, that's not going to help this movie be better.
The problem is you can't handle the truth.
That's right.
That
That's
this
right.
movie is trash.
You seem like you're getting upset. Are you mad?
I'm so baffled by all of this.
Can I help you out?
Yeah,
Birdman was definitely
help me out, please.
All right.
Please tell me you love this movie.
I don't. But here's what I'll tell you. Just take a deep breath, and I want you to think about something because
All
you
right.
know the schedule.
Sure.
What day is this episode coming out?
Well,
'Cause you know how many weeks from now when we record it?
hang on. Is this April Fool's Day? I hate you so much right now.
Hit the music. Welcome back. The first episode ever of Good Movies That Are Good because it's April Fool's Day. We're talking about a good movie today, and that's Batman 1989. We don't hate this movie. Come along with us. Let's go. Don't kill me, Kurt.
I swear, I thought
That's the greatest.
so.
That's the greatest Batmobile ever. Shaft included.
Do you think Batman and Robin is better than this movie?
No,
Who would think that?
not me.
No one ever.
I mean, I love it for other reasons.
I love this movie.
Ryan Farrell thinks Batman Forever is a good movie.
Well, I like that movie just because of how old I was when I saw it. You know what I mean? But I can objectively say it's not good. But yeah, so we are for the first time ever going to talk about a good movie that's good. Right?
Finally.
Yeah, finally. So we're going to go through it like we would a normal episode, but we're just having some fun with you, Kurt.
I'm so
okay?
glad. I'm very relieved. I couldn't believe the Jack Nicholson line.
Yeah. Look, here's what we'll say. That he sucks at being a killer?
Yes.
He's like the best crazy person of all time.
Yes. It doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, that's
So here's one. I just
made
a
a
little
career of it.
A little disclaimer, okay? Because we're still going to give it the BMR treatment, even though I'm pretty sure we all love this movie. It's okay to give the business to the ones that you love too, and I mostly love this movie, but there are some aspects of it that in rewatching it I think are kind of still hilarious, and so we will do our normal routine here, but we are going to go through it like we normally would. Cool?
Yeah.
You guys
Sounds good.
So what's your actual overall impression of this movie?
I love this movie. I mean, honestly, I also think this is the first time. This was the first movie it was ever mine. Like it wasn't part of the family collection. Like this one I got and wore that VHS out. Watching it over and over again when I was a kid. I love this movie.
It was so influential. I feel like it started everything from superheroes dominate the summer box office now. And that was the first superhero blockbuster. I know Superman was 10 years earlier in the 70s and it was a big deal, but I feel like this was just different, right?
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's kind of just history in general. I mean, Superman came out first.
Right.
And then you had Batman. Right. And Batman just took it in a totally different direction because obviously Superman was the Boy Scout.
Yeah, and
so now you had a dark, gritty superhero.
Which had never really been done because even Batman, the only iteration people really knew outside of the diehards that were reading the comic books in the 80s. I mean, you can't say, back then that there was as many big Batman fans as there are now.
Right.
There was just the guys that grew up on the comics, which was admittedly a small subset of the population.
Right. And then as we mentioned, the Adam West series. Right.
Well, that's the thing. So for the masses, outside of those diehards, the only iteration of Batman they'd ever seen was the pow, bam, cheesy, get my bat shark repellent.
Yeah.
He
would have made Jaws
so much. That was fantastic.
He would have made Jaws so much better.
So to go from that, right, to this, I mean, kids' minds were just blown.
Well, like Pat said, I mean, it's basically this was our Batman. We finally, oh man, and it was so different from the Adam West series.
Absolutely. Bob, I know you didn't see it in the theater because you were one when this came out.
I saw the Batman Returns in the theater.
Okay, so you were old enough to go to see that once it came out. But what was your first memories of seeing this movie? Probably at home, I'm assuming, on VHS?
Probably at home. Probably you or Dad were watching it or someone was watching it was on. And I just remember watching it and I just going, this is some cool stuff right here. What is this? What is this guy?
Yeah.
So I just kept watching it. I think how I watch movies, I always just used to catch snippets of scenes and then I never really fully watched it until I got a little bit older.
You never had the attention to sit and
I never
watch
had the
the whole
attention to
thing,
sit because I always just played with my toys and I just have something on in the background, but this was always on in the background and I just catch a part, catch this, catch that. Until I think 10 years go by,
Right.
I watched it fully with you, and I go, this is the greatest Batman movie ever. And to this day, to me, it's still the best Batman movie.
Wow.
I mean, you can have The Dark Knight. I know there's.
Well, we'll get into all that.
Yeah,
right. We'll get into all that.
It's the Batman.
You can't really talk about this movie and not talk about it compared to everything that's come after.
To me, it's still the best one.
Okay.
Because it's more Batman than any of the other ones.
And this is the kind of movie that if, as a little kid, you say you just catch a scene here, a scene there.
Yeah.
Out of context, if you just catch the wrong part of this movie, it's some weird stuff going on.
Oh yeah, right. There is some weird stuff. But when he's at the church and he's fighting Joker, and then when he takes the bat, the bat wing and goes up and down, and then he just
it's great.
It's good stuff.
Kurt, how do you feel about this?
Oh well, like you said, I mean, it's the Batman that started it all. That's
right,
for the movie series at least. I love this movie. We were 10 when this came out.
Yep.
So
we were perfect age.
it was the first time I got to go into a movie theater with friends and go see a movie. And it was like
made for you.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I can't wait to see. I mean, it was one of those where I remember because the internet wasn't around.
Right.
And it was like, did you see the Batman trailer yet? Did you see the Batman trailer yet?
Right.
No. How do I go see it? And
for a long time, it was just the poster with the bat symbol on it. And that was it.
Yeah. And it started the hype train of, you got to see the trailer. You got to see the trailer. And I think the Warner Brothers was actually paying for it to be on certain movies so that they could, I mean, it was like a massive spreading of love for this movie before the movie even came out. And then when I got to see it, it was like, oh, yes, this is great.
Bonkers. You know how hard it is to make $400 million when it's like less than $5 a ticket?
Well, and I, I know you were joking earlier, but I love Pee-wee's Playhouse. I grew up on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Tim Burton was the right choice.
I love Tim Burton.
Yes.
And I still love Tim Burton.
Anything I said before,
absolutely.
just wipe that off.
Well, I just know a lot of people don't like the Pee-wee series, but I mean, I was a fan.
That movie scared me. Pee-wee's
Large Marge freaked me out.
Beetlejuice was great. So to go into this and know that he was doing this movie, I was stoked.
Hey, Elvis. Awesome. Hey, King. Well, it looks like I'm next.
I will tell you this, though, to piggyback on Bob.
Yeah.
I will say that even though I do love Batman, and it's the one that started it all, my favorite by far always will be Batman Returns.
Ooh, even more than this.
Even more than this.
Because, that's even weirder than this one.
Well, and the reason is I feel like Tim Burton was able to sort of, it gave him the door to open up the world more, and he was able to be more creative with it. He wasn't under as many time constraints. He had the budget.
He went full Tim Burton.
Yeah, and so I feel like that one, and the characters already established.
Yeah.
So he could play around with it, and I mean, I love Danny DeVito's Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. Yeah. I mean, that was probably one of my first.
That's awesome.
First crushes. I mean, that was.
Oh, she was gorgeous.
Va 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 boom.
Yeah. I can't. I feel like I can't talk about Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman for very long. Otherwise, it's all I'm going to want to talk about for the rest of this episode.
We love you, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Let's not forget, though, Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale.
Kim Basinger was great.
She was a knockout.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's about it for me. We'll see. I have some.
I mean, she was pretty hot in Cool World.
There is one aspect of this movie I will say that drives me absolutely crazy, and we'll get into it. I don't want to spoil it now, but
how did you feel about the movie?
I love it. I watched it for the first time this week in a long time, and so it was interesting coming into it with fresh eyes because I almost know the movie by heart. Even now, even though it's been a long time, I'm watching it and I can almost say every line as it comes up.
Absolutely.
How long has it been since you've seen the film?
All the way through, probably 10 years, I would say. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So since probably the last time you and I watched it.
Yeah, so it probably was. And so it was interesting to watch it with fresh eyes. And so there's one aspect now that never would have bothered me before that now really does. And, but I still love it. It still holds up. It's still awesome. I mean, good acting is good acting, right? And so Nicholson, in 1989, in 2009, whenever I last watched it, and now it's going to be good. It's going to be good till the end of time.
Absolutely.
Well, and I will add this. We all have kids.
Right.
My daughter is a huge Batman fan.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to share this with her.
I bet.
And she loves this movie.
It's awesome.
And it's good enough that you can show it to a 5-6-year-old and they get it. Mm-hmm. And it's, hey, bad guy, good guy. Let's, this is it. The war's on.
Let's hammer some justice.
Well, let's dive in. Let's dive in so we can get through. And as we go through the movie, we're probably going to stop and talk about some of these things and reflect on the history of the whole thing, but also the movie itself. And I'm excited to do that. I think the first thing we have to mention, when the movie begins, before we even get into the movie, it's Danny Elfman's score. That's what the movie opens with. The greatest music,
greatest comic book score for a hero ever.
I won't go that far. I'll say it's the second best ever, just because I love John Williams' score for Superman. But it's as good as that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not. You're talking about 1A and 1B.
Again, different feel.
Totally different. Yeah. Not even the same type of thing.
No.
But that really long. Usually, I hate long opening credit sequences. I'm like, come on, get to the movie. I don't mind it in that movie because it's just the whole thing sets the tone.
Yeah.
It's great. But I find it interesting that the movie opens with a scene that kind of mirrors what happened to Bruce when he was a kid, right? This kid.
Oh, yeah, like the trick scene.
What, the trick?
Well, it's kind of like a trick because it's like it makes you think they're doing the story of Batman.
Oh, right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a second. This isn't.
But speaking of tricks, what is the deal with the prostitute tickling the shoulder of the boy?
Right in front of his parents?
Right in front of his parents.
I don't
what is up with this city? It's just okay for a 10-year-old to be approached by a hooker.
They said it was crime ridden. I mean, they weren't joking.
No.
There's no boundaries in Gotham City.
No, this is what it does. It does a great job of establishing within the first few minutes with the hooker, with the two thugs that mug the parents, and then they're sitting divvying up the money, and they look just terrible.
They've been on pre-workout and cocaine.
Exactly. Yeah. And just, it's worse. Within 5 minutes before you ever see Batman, Tim's already created this atmosphere of the city where it's okay for hookers to try and pick up kids in front of their parents, and people getting robbed left and right. And
absolutely.
Every fog machine company is sold out of fog machines when they made this movie.
Tim Burton's in town.
It's just every scene is filled with smog and mist and
fogs through the roof.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What'd you think of this version of Gotham, Bob, compared to others?
I loved it.
Because I hate the Dark Knight. No. I shouldn't have paused there. I like the Dark Knight. I hated how Gotham was in Dark Knight. It looked so pristine and so clean, and it's just like, here's Chicago, and we're not going to change it at all.
Yeah, that was my big issues. Like that was now with that first movie, Batman Begins. Really, I thought Batman Begins' atmosphere was a lot better, but then it got worse. Like we stopped caring about the atmosphere, especially by the third movie. I was just telling Batman's fighting in daylight.
Yeah,
and the suit looks ridiculous.
Yeah, so Batman Begins, it felt like Nolan cared about the atmosphere, and then he's like, well, we're just going to shoot Chicago like it is.
It was just like,
well, it also felt like when they were driving, it was kind of like product placement, because there was the bank in the background of the one, and you're not going to see that in this. Batman 1989. Like,
no, there's like a Bank of America in the background.
Did you see the Jeep commercial on BVS?
Batman versus Superman?
When Ben Affleck's driving through the streets of Metropolis in a sick, awesome Jeep?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. But to go back to this one, I think Gotham is portrayed in other movies not as well as it was in this one. I mean, that's just
even the dad in this, right? Like, hey, I know where I'm going. Let's lead my family down this dark alley.
We'll find a cabin here.
It's getting worse. I'm seeing more homeless people. I'm seeing more drugs.
Right.
No, let's keep going.
But really, it's all just a setup to get Batman into the camera.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Hot dog stand.
In the alley?
Middle, yes, in the alley.
How much business do you think that hot dog stand is doing?
Are they peddling hot dogs, or is something else?
You don't think so?
No, I don't think the Colombian dog is really a hot dog.
That's why hot dogs is in quotes on the side. Colombian hot dogs.
It's just a fat rail in a bun
with some poppy seeds.
That's right. Yeah, so these guys clearly had been eating the Colombian dogs. I mean, they look like they're burnt out, and they got this great scene. There ain't no bad, all right?
Hey, you want this cut on the money or not? Yeah. Now shut up.
Shut up. This is a great scene. Okay.
Yeah.
And you see Batman just kind of fly into the background very slowly, and it's such a. I mean, could you introduce the character any better?
I don't think they have in recent movies.
Well, but that was really the introduction into the new dark Batman for all of these movies. Basically, that was it.
Thank you, Frank Miller.
Yeah. Well, he drew heavily from Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then he drops within the first 3 lines of, or it's the second line of dialogue he has, right? He says, "I want you to tell all your friends about me." The most iconic line Michael Keaton's probably ever uttered in his career.
Yeah.
"I'm Batman."
Yeah.
And just so perfect.
It's still one of the best Batman voices.
Yeah. Oh gosh, let's talk about that for a second. Michael Keaton's Batman voice versus Christian Bale's.
Okay, Kurt, real quick, what happened with that?
You have to know that you're a force for good in the city.
Bale had good moments, though. I didn't do it, I swear.
Swear to me.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
You know, like, but yeah, then he's like,
Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say the problem is that Pete Holmes did Christian Bale's Batman better than Christian Bale.
agreed.
Yeah,
Much
absolutely.
agreed.
Yes, yes.
Oh, what do you? Can I heat up your porridge, madam?
Oh, boys, all tuckered out. He's sleeping in a hammock full of dreams.
But Michael Keaton didn't really change it all that much.
No, he just like deepened his
Just a
pitch.
little.
He
Yeah.
upped it and lowered it. You know,
Yeah.
he brought on the Bruce Wayne when he had to, and
Yeah.
then he lowered it down for Batman, which was good.
So
You want to get nuts? Let's
now
get
I think now we got to talk about it because there's not going to be a better time probably, but and I don't want to take 15 minutes on this like we probably could, but comparing Keaton to the other Batmen, right? So we're looking at like not including Adam West because that was a totally different thing, right? But the Val Kilmers and the George Clooney's and the Christian Bales, the Ben Afflecks, and now Robert Pattinson, which I don't want to get into that movie because I know it just came out. You guys have seen it. I haven't. But if you want to include him in it, you can. But where do you think Michael Keaton sits in that group of guys? Number one.
He's number one.
I just feel like you have to.
Yeah?
Because
I mean, he's the one that started it all. And
I know he
feel
started it, and he
everybody
deserves-
modeled it after that
Yeah.
because he deepened his voice. I will say
That was
that
his
I
call
enjoyed.
too, I believe.
Yeah.
I do enjoy Affleck's because I felt like it was more disguisable through electronics.
Right.
So I did like that aspect because now it's not just you going like,
So I just gonna drop my voice down here like this and talk to the guys.
you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he could talk and then it disguises his voice. I do like that better in that aspect.
I know he was first, and so he deserves a certain amount of props and respect for that. But taking that, just the fact that he was first off the table and just apples to apples comparison, you think Michael Keaton's number one?
he is, because the way he moves in that suit and the way his eyes in that movie, the way he looks, just the way everything, the body acting that he does and the way he speaks and the way he looks is just 100% Batman. And Pattinson is the only one to me that's gotten as close to Keaton status than anybody else. I like
Through the eyes. Yeah.
through the eyes and the body language and how Batman moves and looks. It's like I'm in the minority probably with Kurt here. I like Affleck's Batman for the brutality of him. I do like Christian Bale's Batman a lot, and you can keep everybody else.
I think Christian Bale's Batman has aged worse than, like, I think when Batman Begins came out, everybody was like, this guy's awesome. And I feel like each one that came out and then it was a little worse.
Got more dramatic.
As we've gotten further and further away from those movies, I think it's like Christian Bale's performance seems worse and worse in those movies.
But didn't it seem like they just cared more about the villains than they did Batman?
I think
where in these movies,
I think it's fair to say that Michael Keaton is probably one of the best eyeball actors of all time. Do you know? I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but he's always had those like really expressive, crazy eyes.
Yes,
and that's just perfectly tailor made because when you're in the cowl, it's your jawline and your eyeballs. And that's about it, right?
Yes.
That's all you've got.
He brought that to Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah,
when he was playing
Vulture.
Vulture. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, he was great as Vulture too, and Birdman, I will say.
So right after this, I didn't ask you, where do you think Keaton falls in the litany of Batman?
I haven't seen all the iterations.
Okay.
I haven't seen like the Batman versus Superman movie as much as I was like hyped to see that, and I keep putting it on my list of like, I'll see it eventually.
But I have to see Christopher Reeves. Dang it.
Yeah.
Well, but I think with this one, what I liked is the fact that this is a comedy.
Yeah.
Like it's a dark comedy, but it's still a comedy.
Yeah, there's humor in there. Yeah, absolutely.
And Keaton just delivers some of those lines, the soup scene, you know.
Absolutely.
And it just kind of.
Oh, I love his Bruce Wayne.
And so, and I guess you always have to differentiate the two of them.
Yeah.
But I just think that he did such a great job of just kind of being a lot more mysterious behind the mask.
Yes.
There was almost like his lack of personality is actually what's shown through, I think, for me, because it made it harder to figure out who he was.
When that first scene when we meet Bruce Wayne, which is that party in his mansion, I think does a really great job of setting up this mystique of Bruce Wayne better than a lot of the other movies do, right? Because he's kind of aloof. He's this collector of these weird things. He doesn't out himself right away. He's like, I don't know who Bruce Wayne is, and comes in later and he's listening. And, I just think Bruce Wayne is a lot more mysterious in this movie.
It's Japanese. How do you know that? Because I bought it in Japan.
Because I bought it in Japan.
Get this guy a grant.
This must be King of the Wicker People. Yeah, great. Well, look, so right after this scene, we meet the Jack Napier, right? Which there's a line that he says, this is well before Jack Napier becomes Joker, and he's hanging out with his girlfriend, who is, we find out, Carl Grissom's girlfriend, which is what's about to get him in a lot of trouble. And he's just basically a gangster at this point, right? And he says this line that immediately made me think of what you asked about with the hooker, right? When he's watching Harvey Dent give this speech on TV, he's played by Billy D. Williams, by the way, which I'm bummed we never got to see him make the turn to Two-Face.
Harvey Calrissian?
Harvey Calrissian. He says, we're going to make the street safe for decent people. And Nicholson says, decent people shouldn't live here. They'd be happier someplace else. And you're like, amen. Who would ever want to live in Gotham City? Why are there people there at all is what I'm wondering.
But there's a flaw in that logic. Yeah. Because you prey off the decent people when you're a villain. Like if they all left, if the money all left, if the people that are, easily duped because they're trusting or they're compassionate human beings of some sort, right? It goes away, and then you're out of business.
That's a really great point.
Yeah, but it's still just a great introduction, I think, to Jack. It's one of the. This is more of a minor thing. This isn't the big thing that annoyed me. I do think I love Jack's performance as the Joker. Once he turns into the Joker, it's great. I don't love that we know the Joker's backstory. I think Joker's better when how he became and who he is a little bit more of a mystery. The fact that he was just like a gangster guy and then fell in some acid and became the Joker. I don't love that aspect of it, but that's a minor quibble, for me.
Yeah.
I just would prefer not to know.
I could see that. I mean, that's part of the... I feel like that's what made...
It loses the mystery a little bit,
That's what made Batman the Animated Series so great.
Yeah.
Because you never really knew who the Joker was.
Well, same thing with Heath Ledger, too.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Heath Ledger, he made up his backstory in every other scene. He's telling a different story about how he got his scars. We never find out who he is.
You never really know.
Yeah.
So doesn't it drive some of the story, though, in the sense that, that's who killed Bruce Wayne's parents?
Right, but a lot of people were upset about that because the Joker didn't kill his parents in the mythology. That's something that Tim Burton's as a quick and expedient narrative device said, let's just make it that the Joker killed him to give, Batman doesn't need a reason to want to get the Joker. He wants to get the Joker because the Joker's preying on innocent people.
See, I looked at that as how do I want to word this? So when, and I always compare everything to Batman the Animated Series because by far to me that is Batman.
No, that's Joker. The definitive version. I left him out, Kevin Conroy out of it, but Kevin Conroy is, if that's in the mix, then Keaton is under him to me. Kevin Conroy to me is the definitive.
He is Batman, absolutely. Right. But you can do more with animation that you can't with movies, especially in 1989. Yeah. So my point is this. So the relationship between Joker and Batman is it's intertwined.
Yes.
So I felt like that was Tim Burton's, because again, now this is his third movie that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So the inexperience I feel was there. But what he was trying to do was start that intertwined relationship. So all of a sudden it made it more personal to Batman. Right. It wasn't just, I need to stop him because he's a bad guy. It's now, you killed my parents,
right,
and now I want you dead because of what you've done. Yeah. And that's why I love the line when he says, I made you, you made me first. And it was just kind of this now there's a vendetta. Now that it makes Bruce more human, it makes him more of the anti-hero because now he wants to destroy this guy.
Well, doesn't it kind of, because it's personal, it challenges his moral code?
Absolutely.
And that's where I think that kind of comes in a little bit.
Yes. And this is, in Tim Burton's defense, I'm about to knock him for something else, but he made this movie. He didn't have a blueprint to follow because there had never been another one to do that with, right? And so he took some liberties with the mythology of Batman, knowing that there was some diehard comic book readers, but the masses wouldn't know anything about that stuff. So he could have Joker kill his parents. He could do these things that people aren't necessarily, it's not like nowadays where if you're not a slave to the source material, you're going to get crucified, right? but Batman didn't really have a moral code in this movie. He was murdering people all over the place in this film, right? And the Batman that we know from the comics and the animated series and that stuff is a no-kill policy, right? And so the fact that Batman is murdering people left and right in the Tim Burton movies is always something that when I first saw it didn't bother me because I didn't know any better. But then once I watched the animated series and I got to know more about Batman, going back to him, it always bothered me how easily Batman killed people as Michael Keaton.
I guess I don't, and I mean, however you want to edit this.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize, who did he kill in the movie?
Well, he blew up Axis Chemicals and a ton of people that were in there when he drove his Batmobile in there and dropped a bomb. He fired machine guns and bombs off of his
Because I guess they never really showed it, so I guess you're just assuming that they were dead. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
And in Batman Returns, he put the time bomb in that dude's pants and kicked him into the hole and blew him up.
That was a good one. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Now that I'm on the spot, I can't think, but I remember watching the movie going, well, he just killed that guy.
The guy in the ending, where he swooped up, grabbed him by his leg, grabbed him by his head,
threw him down
hit him in the bell, then threw him down.
Yeah, killed that guy.
That was straight up on screen murder.
Yeah.
Right there. But
also
you're talking about the Darth Vader death.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So,
well, I was going to comment that one of my favorite lines with Jack in that moment was when his girlfriend or whoever that is, that's also Jack Pallas's girlfriend. She walks up and she's like, you look fine. And he's like, I didn't ask you. And then almost gave her that look like, don't touch the suit.
No, it's a great setup for Jack.
Who I am. Watch a Lakers game, you'll see me.
Yeah,
because he's just a man.
And really, the first 5 or 6 scenes of this movie is just, meet this person. It's like, meet Batman, meet Jack. The next one is meet Alexander Knox, right? With this reporter played by Robert
Vicky Vale. Yeah.
The scene after that is, meet Vicky Vale. She shows up at the Globe, wants to know about Batman. Then it was meet Carl Grissom. Here's who this guy is. I mean, that's like kind of how it goes through. I do love Lieutenant Eckhart goes to meet Jack right next to a crime scene that's crawling with cops. He's like,
he just walks the next alley over.
We just sneak over here and have a secret clandestine meeting with this mob boss.
What's his voice dubbed over?
I don't know.
I
say you're full of shit, Knox. Like whatever it is, it was weird.
Eckhart, I just thought his voice was totally dubbed over. It did not.
Yeah.
It didn't fit to me with the character, so I felt like maybe he had a whole different voice. I would like to know.
Yeah.
I didn't do any deep diving on that.
One of my favorite, there's so many quotable lines in this movie, and almost all of them belong to Jack. But that scene where Eckhart pulls the gun on him, and then immediately Bob, played by Tracy Walter, who was awesome in this movie.
Yes, absolutely. Bob the Goon.
And we gave him a real hard time in Conan the Destroyer. And I think we gave him the Trash Can Full of Dirt award for that movie. And he was bad. But
he was the worst.
Totally redeemed himself.
Yes, he did. Bob the Goon. I have the Bob the Goon action figure at home right now.
Bob the Goon is great. And he draws the gun immediately over Jack. Like, Jack doesn't even have to draw his own gun. Guy's right there.
Yeah.
He just says, you better be sure. He basically says, you're not going to run the show.
See, you can make good decisions when you try.
And he has this hint of the Joker laugh underneath, as he's walking away. This kind of under his teeth, basically.
Absolutely.
It's just such a perfect setup there. And I think, Jack was just tailor-made for this part. That's all I have to say.
So was his face.
Yeah.
His face was...
Well, he's always had a great smile. So then just added... Basically, all they did was just embellish what was already there. They didn't do this heavy makeup job on him.
It's like Willem Dafoe would be a good Joker.
No, he wouldn't even need the makeup. His smile already goes as far as Jack's with the makeup on. It's crazy.
That's why he didn't need the helmet in the new Spider-Man.
All right, so Vicky Vale shows up and, like I said, wants to know about Batman. She's going to work with Alexander Knox. I mean, she was fine. I mean, she's beautiful in this movie. I didn't think her acting was anything to write home about, but
I loved her in 9.5
I don't know if that was her fault necessarily, and they just didn't give her a lot.
Can we talk about 9.5 weeks?
No,
that movie made a lot of men, or boys, men.
Mickey Rourke and Hawk Fudge sitting out.
What about Cool World? That one really did it for me.
That was good. She was drawn. Yeah. She was very well drawn in that movie.
I'm just drawn this way.
So Carl Grissom, after this, we meet Jack Palance. Now, Jack Palance, I feel like never knows what movie he's in. Okay,
I think he still thinks he's in Shane.
I'm like, he is basically playing the main crime boss. He's playing the same character that he was playing in Tango and Cash the same year. Both came out in 1989. It's like he left the set of Tango and Cash,
walked across the
walked across the street, walked into this, and he just played it the exact same way.
He did.
Tango and Cash.
Cash and Tango,
Tango. And then he comes over here and he's like, Jack, you are my number one. A guy.
Which we've learned is not a good thing to be. I mean, and because Jack, he ends up delivering that line way better later on in the movie.
Oh, Nicholson's imitation of Palance later is hysterical.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, this is a personal story now.
Yes.
So Pat and I used to work together.
Okay.
And I was having a real rough day. Do you remember this?
It was a great job.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
We loved working together. And there was a moment where I was sitting there and I was like, why do I got to do this? Like, I was really mad. I had to go out. He was like, he comes over to me, he starts rubbing my shoulders, and he just stares me right in the eye. Doesn't miss a beat. Yeah, he goes, because you are my number one guy. And he's like rubbing my shoulders like very like seductively.
That's
and I'm
incredible.
like, it made me so highly uncomfortable, but it also made me laugh so hard that I had no reason to be mad, and it turned my mood around
awesome.
like that, and it was
You're
great.
a legend. You're
He
just a
is.
legend, Pat.
I thought you were
Absolutely.
going to tell the story at the time you were doing that, and I didn't even say anything. I just walked up and tickled your belly real quick, and then and I could see this flash. I'm like, I'm going to hit you, but then you just everything just fell away, and you started laughing.
Yeah, the blood rushed from my head. It was like,
Drained out of your head.
that's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And I love when he does when Jack Nicholson does it to Bob, how like proud Bob is. Like Bob is like no hint of laughter or anything. He's just like,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then shoots him later. Cold blood.
Yeah, so we get our first big action sequence is the Axis Chemicals shootout, right? So Grissom sends Jack Napier and the boys because Dent's been sniffing around one of the front companies, so they go to clean out Axis Chemicals to make it look like it was industrial espionage, right?
Right.
And when they get there, Grissom has already told the cops Jack's going to be there because he's setting
he
them up.
called him right.
We've been ratted out here, boys. Watch it. And the cops roll in. Now, Eckhart is basically bringing the cops in as a murder squad, right? He's like, here's the guy, shoot to kill, right? Get take care. It's a bunch of dirty cops. And then a few minutes later, Commissioner Gordon shows up with the good cops and kind of tries to take over the bust, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always laugh when that first cop comes out by him. So there's 12 dudes, and the first cop jumps out and goes, freeze! And then immediately they all just try and shoot him. Like, brilliant idea. Officer number 4.
Yeah. Officer number 4.
Can we talk about Pat Hingle as the worst Commissioner Gordon?
Okay, so not a fan, I take it, of Pat Hingle.
But through all 4 movies, sure.
At least it was consistent.
He was consistent. It's just like, what?
But not memorable, especially after we get like Gary Oldman, right?
Gary
Who just,
Oldman and Jeffrey Wright.
It makes him look so much worse in retrospect.
Even Christopher Maloney, who plays Commissioner Gordon in the Harley Quinn TV show on HBO Max, is like great. And I'm like, how did Pat Hinkle get this job?
There's a lot of weird casting choices. I think even Alfred, Commissioner Gordon.
Michael Koff was actually not bad. I like Michael Koff.
Yeah, he's okay.
But
He
he's
felt
okay.
more like a grandpa
He's
than
he's
like
Grandpa Alfred.
a butler. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
I mean, I think though that was the kind of the prototype up
Right.
to that point of a commissioner.
Yes.
Kind of like a guy that had gotten a little out of shape because he's been behind the desk for a while now.
Yes.
You know, and he's got political aspirations kind of, so he's more concerned about what he looks like in front of like the camera when he's speaking. And I think
Or
it was
the mayor, right?
Yeah, like I think that
good
kind of
point.
goes in line with what was going on in kind of cop movies at that time. You
Right.
know, it was like they weren't really cops anymore.
Yeah,
You know, they had raised to a different level. Whereas, I mean, it's especially with like, you know, Gary Oldman, he was working his way up still to being the commissioner. So you were still seeing him, you know, a couple more movies and Gary Oldman's got a gut and he's just sitting there.
Then he looks like
walking
Pat
with a
Hingle?
trench coat. Yes, Pat Hingle.
dude, would you watch a Gary Oldman Commissioner Gordon movie just by himself?
Yeah, I would,
Yeah,
of course.
absolutely.
Like, a bunch of
100%.
Bad guys that siege the police station. It's just Gary Oldman.
I
as
don't know the
Commissioner
new guy's
Gordon.
name, but I like him too.
Jeffrey Wright. Great,
Yeah.
great
Okay.
Gordon.
Yeah.
Well, Gordon essentially is used as a bargaining chip. So at one point, Batman gets his hands on Jack Napier, right? And he's like, Jesus, when he looks at him. And then Bob puts a gun to Gordon's head and he's like, drop him. So he basically, Bob saves Jack from Batman.
But before the scene, we got Jack going all crazy, turning levers on valves and cranking on levers and turning stuff on.
He's trying to create a distraction. And
we had some pretty cool Batman moments too. He swooshes in.
Swooping in. I never understand the backwards punch. Like, just turn around and punch him. Why do you got to have your back to the guy and do this? Like, how much power can you really get with the backwards punch?
Or when he hooks the guy and just hangs him over the edge.
That's classic Batman.
Yeah,
Stares
absolutely.
At him.
Right.
Oh, it's great.
But the backward punch never really made a whole lot of sense to me.
Either did in the 60s show. That made sense to me.
And, you know, later in the movie, I believe there was a part where they talk about Napier's background and one of them being like chemistry. And so it may... When I go back to that scene after hearing that,
he might actually know what he's
just
doing.
Pulling levers and everything, and you're like, he doesn't know what he's doing. So of course this could be bad for him being in there. But then in retrospect, you're like, wait a second, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because one of my favorite, I should say least favorite movie tropes is people operating machinery that they should not be familiar with.
Like everyone can fly a plane.
Right.
Like I learned to fly a Cessna, so I can fly this Boeing. And
Exactly.
Hey, Kurt Russell landed a plane pretty successfully.
So
he also landed the 8 tiny reindeer very successfully. As well.
One of my favorite parts of the scene in Axis Chemicals is when, you know, Eckhart, when Gordon shows up, just kind of slips away, right? He's like, I'm getting out of here because I'm in trouble. But then later on at the end of the scene, he just kind of like sleepwalks out into the middle. He's just like literally got this look on his face, like almost like he's in a trance, and he just kind of wanders out into the catwalk like, just so Jack can shoot him, basically.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Eckhart, you better think about the future. Bang. Yeah. Like, what was he doing? He's just wandering around. I thought he was trying to escape.
Yeah. Why wasn't he already out of there?
Right. He should have just made a run. He's like, no. He's like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Well, that was an 80s trope in itself.
Yeah.
It was also kind of an over-exaggerated death when he got shot. The way he just like flew his hands up.
And then the pipe started steaming up and covering his body, and he slowly just slips away.
Yeah.
Question. Do you think Batman dropped Jack into the chemicals on purpose? Did he let him go? Or did it slip? I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell.
I think that's what...
I think he was trying to save him.
You think so?
I do.
Because at this point, he doesn't yet know it's the guy that killed his parents.
Right. So I think he legitimately was trying to help him out.
It didn't look like he was trying that hard. That's all I'm saying. He just kind of led the one arm.
But at the same time,
he could have used a grapple
Joker
or something.
Joker really wasn't trying all that hard either. He was just dangling by it. Like, reach your other arm up there. Help yourself out.
I'm just saying, historically, Batman is not someone who sucks at helping people from not falling. He's usually pretty good at that, right?
If he wanted him to die, he wouldn't have grabbed him.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because he was already falling.
That's a good point. Just something that was on my mind as I watched it. I just couldn't tell.
I think we can blame
it was the eyes. I think you were confused by Keaton's look at him when he
he just looked like
he looks again, and then the camera does a little shake, and then he just drops him.
I mean, ultimately, it's gravity's fault.
You're right. That's true. It's the ultimate killer.
I do love
gravity's killed more people than probably anybody.
Exactly.
I do love in that scene though when the commissioner's like, "Oh my god!" when he first sees Batman. Yeah, it's great.
Can we talk about the next scene, which is the super awkward date with Vicky Vale at Wayne Manor?
Yeah, she's immediately head over heels for him.
It's one of the. It's comedy genius.
Oh, the long table.
Yes. The awkwardness of it. I mean, like, it's the ability to be funny without a lot of words.
Yeah.
You know, like the slow clicking of his heels as he's walking from one end of the table to the other to
pass the
give
salt.
her the salt, and then the long walk back.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was the thing that I really loved about this movie, and I mean, I think it's safe to say we're all fans of comedy here.
Yes.
Like, and the fact that this is like, there is no blending of comedy really anymore into a lot of kind of like dark superhero movies in the way that Keaton was able to do it, I think.
No, it's true. And the button on the scene, the comedy button is really the whole, I don't think I've ever even been in this room.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of the thing that breaks the tension. And yeah, it's a great scene, but she gets wasted and they sleep together, right? They have sex.
Yeah, and Alfred's all about it. He's like, "Good job, sir."
Right? And I'm like, okay, that's super awkward. And then wake up in the next day and he kind of is like, she's like, "Oh, let's go on a second date." And he's like, "Nah." She's like, "Oh, how about Tuesday?" "No, I've got a meeting." Like, "How about this?" "Actually, the whole week is bad. I'm gonna be gone the whole week."
Yeah, I gotta go visit my dead parents.
Right, he's going nowhere.
Well, and that's where Alfred's the terrible wingman.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Like, play along with it.
He totally
Just sold them out.
You might as well just told her right then and there. There's a bat cave.
Bro code violated immediately. I heard you guys are leaving. You're supposed to say, yes, we are leaving. Can't wait to go wherever that is.
He's like, no, we'll be here the rest of the week, madam.
Oh, Alfred did not pass the vibe check at all.
No.
I just see Batman up over the rail. Oh, what are you doing?
And he's already proven that he knows how to clean up after him when he's grabbing the pen and he's grabbing the wine glass almost falls.
Yes.
Like he's just all over it, but he doesn't recognize that
he's
maybe after sleeping with a woman on date number 1 that he might say he's out of town, and so then you should just go along with that.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks a lot, Alfred.
That's why your butler assistant can't be, getting close to those dementia years. Because that's just what was going on in the moment.
Maybe. The good thing is we get out of this. We get out of this super awkward date and into maybe one of the top 3 scenes in the entire movie, at least to me, which is the reveal of Joker as he's walking closer and closer to Carl, and ultimately shoots and kills him.
Oh, yeah, because they have the surgery scene, and he's getting all the
you don't really see him.
Right.
You see these
but it's a buildup.
Butcher's tools that the guy had to use, and he's laughing and
that scene was great.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that whole thing in this, like, back alley surgeon.
Yes.
I thought that surgeon did a great job. I don't even know who that actor is, but I thought, like, he knew what was going to happen. Like, he had the fear, but then he also had the, like,
sympathy.
I'm doing the best that I can. And, like, oh, my gosh.
Like, you got to understand the nerves were completely severed, right? And he's trying to explain to him.
I felt like it was a very Frankenstein moment, like Frankenstein's creature. Because you never see the actual like face or the reveal, but it's all in the doctor's face. Like, and then, yikes.
And then just swinging that light, busting it out, and then just him, you think he's crying.
Lumbering.
But then he's just laughing
hysterically
on the way out. Yes. And I thought that was... Like, that really added a new level to, I think, the movie of, like, what's going to happen next.
To go into the next scene where he's blacked out and you just see the shape of him, and every step closer, you just see, you just see a little bit more.
Smiles off a little bit.
Yeah. And when he says to him, you set me up over a woman. A woman! Right? Like, it's just such a great, great scene. And he knows he's dead. And he knows he's going to kill him. And it's just like a foregone conclusion. And he steps out into the light and says, you can call me Joker. It's as good of an intro to Joker as Keaton's I'm Batman scene was to Batman, to me.
I've been dead once, and it's very liberating.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what being the Joker is all about. And it's from an acting standpoint. When I've listened to Jack or Heath or any of these people talked about playing the Joker, is they always talk about how freeing it is to be able to play the role, because you can pretty much just go nuts and do anything and you're not constrained in any way. And so when he says, it's very liberating, you could tell in his performance. I mean, immediately he sits down in the chair and he's like, winged freak terrorizes, wait till they get a load of me. And he just starts going, oop. Yeah. Oop. It's like, it's just great. I doubt that was in the script. I doubt OOP was in the script.
All of a sudden, he's from like the UP. Like, oop. Oop. And I was like, wait a second.
So I'm saying he was just in it. He's in the moment.
Well, and speaking of the Jokers, I'm gonna say he's the best one. And I know that people are gonna say like, no, it's Heath Ledger. And I have to say that if Heath Ledger didn't die, I don't know if the hype would have been as big.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job, and I think it's a completely different character.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I do think that there is a little bit of like revisionist history when you're waiting for a movie to come out and an actor has passed, that you automatically amp everything up that much higher to begin with.
I respect that take, and I can't get mad at anybody that would pick Jack. I would never say, "Oh, well, you're wrong." It's that good of a performance. For me personally, I would go with Heath Ledger, and part of it I think is because of the way Christopher Nolan set him up to be more successful, and that you didn't know he was just a random gangster that fell into, it's like that to me helped the mystery of the whole thing.
Sure.
And so I would put Heath Ledger, but I'm putting Jack like directly underneath him, and I would again not argue with anybody that says.
But oddly, otherwise. I would still say that Heath Ledger was actually the best villain.
Oh, okay.
To me, and I'm not a person that's into the comics or anything like that, so I'm not as attached to this character. But it just didn't feel to me, and maybe it's just because I was so accustomed to Jack's portrayal of it that to me he almost seemed like a totally different type of character.
Well, and if we're taking Mark Hamill's Joker off,
we can't really include it.
I will go ahead and say I like Jack's, but only because I feel like it's a good mix. So like, what I like about Jax is it's basically gangster, but it's also maniacal, and he's also crazy, and he's also funny, and he's also a smart ass. And then you look at Ledger's, and Ledger's was just insane. I mean, it was so unstable, and in that aspect, he was scarier. He was a much more maniacal bad guy, like you said. But I like Jax only because I feel like it's more true to what Joker should be, I guess, is how I feel.
Here's what I'll say that I think Jack did better. I think Jack was more menacing. He was more murderous.
Yeah. Yes.
Like he killed like 50 people in this movie
and had no recollection.
and was like, he would literally but like hands-on killing people. Like there was only a few times where Ledger was directly involved, like when he, hung out the driver's window and shot the cop in the shotgun and,
stabs the guy with
the pencil. Most of the time it's like he's blowing up a building or he's, releasing dogs onto somebody or he's, what's the other thing he blew up? The cell phone in the jail.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then the boat, the whole boat scene.
The boat thing, he wasn't really there. It was waiting for those guys to blow it up. Yeah. Jack was like a straight up serial killer.
Well, he kills Bob the Goon.
Do you know what I mean?
His right hand henchman and just done.
Yeah. He starts a man on fire with a hand buzzer.
And he's like
laughing. Maintains like eye contact with him while he's doing it.
And then makes jokes with the corpse.
Yeah.
Right.
Getting a little hot under the collar.
Yes.
I'm glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead.
I'm glad you're dead.
And then he thinks he's such a funny guy. He just walks away. Oh, I'm glad you're dead. Like, that was a good one, Jack. Yeah, but,
sparking, smoking, and going to joking.
Splitting hairs here, for the most part.
No, absolutely.
But Jack Nicholson, in the interview I watched of him talking about this, he said he was thinking about the kids when he decided to play it this way, oddly enough. He said, kids like it when you scare them a little bit, right? Like, kids like that. And so I never wanted to hold back and not be scary and play it like, oh, this is a movie for children, right? Even though it really is. He wanted to really scare the pants off of them. And so he leaned into the murderous side of the Joker.
Sure.
Which for a 10-year-old, you're like, holy crap, he's just killing people left and right.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, let's get back on track.
That leads into another great joke. Bruce Wayne hanging upside down after the night of Vicky Vale sleeping in his stretcher machine or whatever you want to call that.
He didn't seem to be doing a whole lot to hide his identity with her.
No.
From the beginning.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sleep like a bat.
Isn't that kind of her MO? Like, she really wants to,
she's like,
study bats.
She's such a great reporter. She wakes up to that and she's like, oh, that's weird.
Wonder why he's hanging upside down.
Oh, no,
sorry, I'm in traction.
I'm just definitely working out.
Oh, I thought it was Oscar Nunez in the office when he couldn't get back up when he was trying to do that.
Well, Vicky, so this is where Vicky starts to basically stalk Bruce Wayne, and just because he won't go out with her this week, and she finds out that he won't. She starts stalking him. She's snapping pictures. Later on, she's sitting at her desk just staring at these pictures of him. Super stalker vibes for me.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is I said earlier, I have one big major issue with this movie, and this is it. I hate when they try and shoehorn romances into these superhero movies, especially with Batman. Like they tried to shoehorn in with Nicole Kidman, and they tried to shoehorn in with Vicky Vale. It works better when it's one of the villains, like if it's Catwoman or Talia al Ghul or like one of those people that he's like also kind of pursuing as a bad guy, and there's like this weird romantic tension between them. But to just like random, human, whether it's a reporter or a, whatever Nicole Kidman was, a psychologist or whatever, it just always seems forced and weird.
Well, that's why I felt it was so great in Batman Returns.
Yeah, because with Catwoman, it works.
I mean, and then the whole scene, not to go on to that movie, but man, that whole scene when they find out that they're each other. That they're Catwoman.
No,
and
it's
Batman,
great.
It's fantastic.
But in this, it's just like they went on one date.
Yeah.
One date. That's it.
I wonder if there's something that got cut. That put a little more,
I don't know.
a little more
story into it.
Like, because, she does see him sleeping like a bat.
Yeah.
Right. And he did deny that he was Bruce Wayne the first time she met him. Like, and is there something in her investigative mind that's saying there's something going on here?
Well, and then, not again, spoiler, go down to the end.
Well, let's not do that yet. I don't want to go to the end of it yet. Because we're not going to have anything to talk about at the end.
I see what you're saying. That's fine.
But anyway, she's following him out on the street and she's snapping pictures. And yeah, he goes and he puts the roses down on the street. And this is when Joker comes out and there's like, I don't know, a bad guy press conference on the steps of the courthouse. And he comes out and he kills Benny, which is one of the other crime boss everybody's trying to seize power now that Grissom is gone.
I love how they're using the courts to seize power of the illegal empire. Another layer to show you that the judicial system is part of the corruption. It's not
In
just
Gotham, right?
Oh, sure.
It's crooked judges.
Crooked everything.
Yeah.
And this is when Bruce realizes that Napier is still alive, right? And he's just kind of staring at it. And these mimes are terrifying for like when I was a kid and the mimes coming in like whoop, da-doop, da-doop. I was always freaked out by that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then they try and shoot people. It's crazy.
Well, I love Joker's outfit in this scene.
Oh yeah, it's great. And he's got the little lip.
He's like the ringleader.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got the top hat
and he kills
on.
him with a feather.
Yes. A quill. Yeah.
Just right into his throat. But then he goes home to his, the Joker lair or whatever. And Batman is still, and he's got this great line where he says, what kind of world do we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? And he just, he use the boxing glove on the TV,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, and I love that it's like already mounted, aimed at the TV, as if like, I'm just waiting for the day that I need to use this.
Right. This is here. It's like he's showing the henchmen around because this is Axis Chemicals where they built this layer, right? And so I imagine the day after the contractors got done or whatever, he starts showing his goons around, right? Okay, and this is where we're going to cut out all our pictures over here. And this is in case I ever need to punch the television. We've mounted this boxing glove here. I mean, it's just all of it's insane.
Nobody touches this
Nobody touched this but me.
So
that's right.
I know we mentioned a few minutes ago that he doesn't know that Napier is the one that killed his parents yet. But the way that he, through all this gunfire, just walks directly to that car.
Yeah.
To look him in the face almost gives you the idea that he knows exactly who he's like putting pieces together.
That's what I always thought.
He came back later and he said, I found out Jack Napier is still alive.
Right.
Today.
That's what he says after the scene. So that's what made me think he was just realizing it was Jack, because it's not until later when he says the line, the pale moonlight line, that he knows.
Those detective skills are coming in real strong right now.
The world's greatest detective. That's one aspect I wish they'd leaned into more. But again, Tim wasn't really trying to follow the comics all that much, the detective side of things. Although they got into a little bit of that with what's coming up next, which is Joker's next big plan after he says this town needs an enema is to poison Gotham through cosmetics.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And a certain mixture of cosmetics, right? And because again, he's got a background in chemistry. And so the only real like detective bit that comes in is Batman trying to crack the code essentially on, what combination of deodorant or hairspray or whatever it is that is killing people. And we got this great scene where the news anchors are basically the lady falls over dead laughing. And we get this news report that's hijacked by the Joker, and he comes in with his commercial for Smilex.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
And he's got like the dead models on there talk. I'm like, the guy is sick and twisted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they just died, and they're like, love that Joker.
Yep.
Well, I love the newscasters get more and more ugly because they can't use beauty supplies.
That was hilarious.
Again, a comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, dark comedy. Here it comes.
With no hairspray, no nothing. The hair's all frizzed out.
Got zits.
The dude's got this giant zit on his nose.
The bags under the eyes.
Yes.
The Exxon Valdez looks like a crash on their face. Just oil slicks.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fantastic. And this leads up to kind of one of the big set pieces of the movie is the museum. Mm-hmm. You haven't said anything in a while.
I'm just listening.
Okay.
That's what the podcast listeners do.
That's what the podcast
So I listen to the podcast by being in the room.
By being in the room. So we go to the museum here, and the first thing I thought of, and
you skipped over something when
what I skip
in the other maniac scene where he just shows how crazy he is he's cutting up pictures of Vicky Vale.
Oh yeah,
all over his floor,
everywhere.
And then he does a little spin dance after he asks for the phone book, and you're just like,
right. And what does he say? I am of a mind to.
I am of a mind to make some movies.
Movies. Okay.
I mean, I believe that's the. I believe
I've never been able to understand what he says here. I can't tell if he's saying movies or mookie, and I don't even. Mookie's not even a real word. So I don't know. But yeah, he's insane.
He is insane. But he does one of the coolest Joker moments of all time in the museum.
Yeah. Well, the first thing about the museum before the Joker even comes in, that maybe it's all my years in food service. I'm like, we really going to set up a restaurant in the middle of all this priceless art? Is that really a great idea? Like, you drop one ramekin of ranch and like that's that's it, right? I mean, that stuff just shoots all over the place.
Yeah, I got some vinaigrette on my Van Gogh.
Yeah, I got some sriracha on my Syrah.
I got a little pico de gallo on my Picasso.
It just seems like a terrible idea.
It does, but some art is shit. And so some of this could actually improve it.
He did improve a lot of art in that.
You said I could watch you improve the paintings.
Oh no, I got a little mayo on my Mona Lisa.
Oh my gosh. There's but it is. So guys, you were saying an ultimate Joker move.
When he just starts terrorizing Vicky Vale, and then she just throws the water.
Oh yeah,
he just starts acting like he's melting like Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes, that's great.
And then he just turns around and just
half the makeup's washed off.
I think it's the best Joker laughs ever.
Yes, after he says boo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the best Batman entrance ever, and just crashes right through the ceiling.
Yeah, which is a great power entrance, right? Yeah. Like I think Jim Carrey famously said in Batman Forever, right? He's like, see, this is an entrance with style, right? I do think it's a power dating move what Joker pulled, right? We're like, as far as like just taking things away from the movie, life lessons, to just gas the entire place and kill everyone so they can have some privacy.
Well, and how romantic
was it
to send that beautiful gas mask ahead of time for it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Joker's got some moves.
He knows what he's doing.
Right? Just get rid of everybody in the room.
He wants his face on the $1 bill.
Kind of like this one, Bob. Leave it.
Right? Yeah, I kind of like this one.
Oh, and that was a dark painting. That's the one that you hang up in like the wrong hotel room. Like somebody's never sleeping again. Like
that's what I'm saying, man.
A hotel like The Shining.
Yeah, exactly.
When this came out, everyone wanted that lighter that the Joker had. And you remember that?
Yes.
It was just like the flamethrower lighter that just shoots a straight line of fire across.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Was that, not to go back to that painting, but was that painting in The Shining?
I don't remember if it was in The Shining.
That'd be cool if it was.
But that would be a great little connection.
Yeah.
There's all those kinds of things. But I have no idea.
I mean, give it up for Burton.
This is the worst movie podcast of all time because I don't do any research at all. So let's just say, that's the painting from The Shining. What a cool Easter egg.
Yeah. Your guys' job is to be awesome. My job is to upset the fans and get the hate mail here.
By the way, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Oh, watch this. Heath Ledger sucks.
Oh, we're gonna get letters.
Here we go.
By the way, I did, because of all the nonsense at the beginning of this episode, I did not have a chance.
Patrick wants to give me a high five.
To tell everybody the ways that you reach the show. If you'd like to send Bob some hate mail or just reach us in general, you've got questions you'd like to hear answered, and we'll read your emails on our mailbag episodes. You can send us a message at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out.
Have your moms email me if you have one.
Yeah, and your grandma too. Tell grandma to send Bob an email.
And your dad.
And your dad. And you know what? Here's all you do. Direct message, go on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, and just message the President of the United States, okay? And tell them about Bad Movies Rule. That's
Absolutely.
okay. We're going to, word of mouth sometimes. We're like, I'll tell your friends and family. No, we want to start at the top.
Yes.
Tell the president about us and then work your way down from there.
Can I tell you, I told the cashiers at Trader Joe's this morning about this. So,
hey.
Nice.
Did they seem like did they do the high pitch thing?
They thought it was totally cool. And actually,
they did. Okay.
They were like, oh man, are you guys going to do UHF?
Oh.
And so, I mean, the guy was like already thinking about like what he would, want to hear. So
episode number 9.
Fan.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. Sometimes I wonder if, ask, do they do the high pitch thing? Because that's what they do. That's cool.
When they don't
Hey, please. Speaking of high pitch, shouldn't Batman's voice be high pitched like a bat?
Ooh, God, I caught myself. That's
just some radar.
I can't
like
say
dolphins. Yeah.
Yeah. It should get higher. They should just shriek.
Batman, someone in our family does the high pitch voice screening.
As a bat, as he's swinging around and on the zip line, he should have been shrieking.
Yes.
To make sure he wasn't going to hit the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of these Batmen, I just want to hear him go.
I just want to see him flapping around and missing everything, just
flapping,
jittering.
Be awesome.
I just want a Batman to miss it. I did get that in this new Batman where he just misses his mark completely and just crashes and burns.
Oh, that's awesome. I do
After
love.
all, he's only human.
As you say, he crashes through the ceiling and he shoots his zip line, and Joker does that great.
It was that great standoff though. He pulls up the zip line and right in Joker's face, and he's just like, "Oh, okay."
And it splits.
And it splits, and then it goes.
Right.
And he goes, "Get those wonderful toys."
Where does he get those?
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
That guy that half jumps like as an effort to try and get Batman.
It's just
You got 3 inches off the ground, dude.
Don't worry, I'm gonna get him, boss.
2
I
more
told my
inches
boss
and you
I
would
gotta-
have done something.
Hold on, I saw it, boss. I missed. I got a cannoli. I apologize.
Yeah, and I love how they spend the money to have themed cars for the henchmen, like the purple and the green cars.
Yeah.
It makes it really
Jackets.
easy.
The
jackets,
jackets,
everything.
The sick Joker logo face.
He came
Right.
up with that stuff real fast.
You guys are right.
Like
Jack
dropped
Nicholson
in
is.
acid and he's already planning logos while he's in the vat.
Yeah.
Right. He's like literally
While
stumbles
he's
up.
in the vat. Oh man, I can make this into such a great thing. Yeah.
He's like Gene Simmons.
After surgery, he stumbled up the stairs and right into a graphic artist's office, right? And he's like, this is what I'm thinking about.
Look at this face.
I need 4 dozen of these jackets by tomorrow.
Different sizes.
Do you know a car guy?
Yeah.
I need 14. I need a fleet of purple cars.
With
Green
green
tops. Green tops. We
And
need
some
green tops.
mime outfits too.
An expendable henchman.
That's right.
Excuse me, do you know a guy that makes some purple suits?
Yeah.
I would love that. Thank you.
I'm going to need them all. Did you ship any of those yet? Ship them all. We're going to take them out a whole new door. Yeah, he really spent a lot of money on that. I think like the Joker, because later on,
Well, and he's handing out all the money during
Yes.
the parade.
right, and he destroys another television later on, a second TV in the
Hates
movie.
TVs.
And I'm like, if he didn't spend all this money on cars and henchmen outfits and jackets and televisions, he could have taken over Gotham a long time ago.
You know how much
Yeah.
those televisions cost back in that day?
That's what I'm saying. Stop breaking TVs.
The tubes alone.
Honestly. Well, so they chase Batman, and he does this thing.
You got the introduction to the Batmobile.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that.
Yes. The great Batmobile.
I don't
chase.
think it's the best Batmobile that there's ever been. I think it's probably the most recognizable and iconic one. But I mean, the thing needs a grappling hook to be able to make left turns.
Let's rate the Batmobile.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, sharp left turns.
What's the best Batmobile?
I haven't seen the new Batmobile yet, and people are raving about it. So maybe that one.
Take that off the
So I'll
shelf
take that
right
one
now.
off the
You
shelf.
haven't
It's
seen
got to
it
be
yet.
the Tumbler.
The Tumbler. Okay.
Yeah, better than Affleck's, I thought.
More realistic.
More and I mean,
Netflix
come
was
on.
like a mixture of this Batmobile and the Tumbler.
Yeah.
Because it had
So-
they had the narrow snout and then it had the
They
wide
try to make him look more like original Batman while keeping the cool things that the Tumbler could do.
Yeah.
But the Tumbler to me, I mean,
Okay.
especially can eject the bat cycle out of the,
That was pretty
do the like sideways turn thing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just dope. Come on.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
I enjoy that one.
But the Batmobile, looked
I would say
awesome.
this would definitely be a number 2.
Yeah, it's right up there. It's right up there. And,
Definitely not the Batman and Robin one, though.
I mean, he doesn't drive it that
That's
much. I mean,
flying
he jumps
through
out
the
of it.
air after Mr. Freeze's rocket.
Let's not
Yeah.
forget
On a
Adam
bunch
West.
of naked.
Adam West's Batmobile was dope.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All the cars were awesome back in that day.
Yeah. I will say, Batman ends up, chasing these guys into an alley, and there's one thing that he keeps doing throughout the whole movie is he keeps getting shot.
Yes, and pretending like he's like not okay.
He does that.
And he just lays down for
That's
a
his
while.
go-to move. Let me just pretend I'm dead. Psych!
Gotcha, suckers.
Right? Like, wouldn't it be more menacing to just keep marching forward towards these guys as they're shooting you?
Absolutely. He does it like 4 times in the movie.
Right.
I mean, there's the scene when he's got Vicky Vale's, later on in her apartment, he's wearing the metal tray.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
that
certain.
bullet hitting that metal tray didn't go ping. And everybody goes, something ain't right here. That didn't hit flesh.
No blood, no nothing.
Yeah, Joker looked over and was like, yeah, I got him.
There's one thing I've learned from movies is you always shoot as many times as possible because the villain or the
Yes.
hero is always
That's
not
something,
bad.
that's something that Scream taught us.
That would have definitely gone ding.
Yeah.
Also not sure that
Just
bathroom
joking.
tray is going to stop a bullet either.
No.
No.
Right. Those things are made out of folded steel, right?
Well, and even when she drops it, it's like ding, 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 ding.
Go ahead.
No, I was just this. Never mind. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, and this is when Vicky Vale's taking all the pics of him, right?
Right.
And stuffs it in her bra or
And
whatever.
stuffs it all in
down
her bra.
shirt.
He takes her back. No, but even before that, why is he gonna let them take his mask off? I mean, they get the mask almost completely off.
Yeah, and she's trying to snap shots of it.
And then they're distracted by Vicky, and then he wakes up. Like, why is he allowing them to get that close?
I needed a distraction.
Batman doesn't need a distraction.
I mean, it's not Kevlar per se, but I mean, people will say that like even if you have a vest on and you get hit, like it's still like being punched extremely hard.
Oh,
and I mean, it's possible that he could be a little bit out of it for a moment.
And Keaton's not a huge dude either. They do a good job in the movie of framing him and shooting him in such a way where he looks much bigger than he is. But there's just a couple of wide shots where he's like running next to Vicky, like down the alley. And we're like, oh, they're the same size. Like he's not. He's like kind of a little dude. And,
other than Batman versus Superman, I don't know any of the Bruce Waynes that are menacing looking.
No, well, that's the thing. Robert
They're all
Pattinson,
kind of tiny guys.
Christian Bale, Pattinson, Keaton. I mean, Ben Affleck probably physically was the most what I would consider Batman should be bigger. I mean, if you ever play the Arkham games, he's like this big, imposing dude, just
like 6'4",
snapping dudes' arms left and right and stuff. But they've always for some reason cast little guys to play Batman,
except Iceman.
Yeah,
that's what I liked about Affleck.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing about Affleck that I love.
Yeah.
They got the size right. I mean, the fight scenes were great. He just, other issues, which we'll get into when we talk about Batman versus Superman, which will be coming up at some point.
I can't wait.
Oh God, you might as well book the whole day to talk about that movie.
So let's wrap up this stupid romance because what comes up after this was so frustrating to me. They went on one date. Alfred starts giving Bruce crap about Vicky Vale, right? And about how he's blowing her off. And how, she seems like she'd be nice to have around. I'm like, Alfred, shut up. They've been on one date. One. Sorry. See, I'm getting so animated. I'm hitting my microphone.
Well, and then Bruce tells him, well, why don't you marry her? And then he insinuates back to him.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good idea for you.
That's right. Marry her after one date.
There's nothing better to protect your father's legacy than marrying somebody who might be out for nothing but the millions and millions and millions that you've got.
Right.
Go ahead. Sign that. No prenup.
But he's guilted by this into going over to her apartment and then feels compelled to tell her he's Batman. Why? You've been on one date with her.
And she's a journalist.
She's
She's going to put your face in every Time magazine like she did those bodies in a ditch.
This is my big problem with the movie is the relationship with Vicky Vale.
This is the worst part of the movie.
That's what I'm saying. There's no reason he should be over there. Come on, like trying to, like he's like, I'm Batman. Just say it. I'm Batman. I'm like, no, don't say it. What's the matter with you?
That's why I think the Katie Holmes, Maggie Gyllenhaal thread, because those are people that have known each other their whole life.
Yes. That's different.
And that's where I think it's different. Like, that's the problem sometimes with these movies, I think, is because you almost have to have, like, this thing that they're fighting for, and it's always love.
Right.
And that's, like, but at the same time, there's, like, this whole, like, I got to protect her because if they know who I am, then they'll come after her. But it makes far more sense when there's an established relationship rather than...
But even so, I don't think Batman stories need a romance. I know Hollywood directors, and especially back then, were like, we got to have a love interest in this movie. We have to do it. But some of the best Batman stories I've watched or read or played in some of the Arkham games had no romance to them at all.
No.
None.
Don't
and they
need
were
it.
freaking awesome. You just don't need it with Batman.
No.
But I mean, there are ways to do it right that work, but it's just not necessary to be shoved in here like this. But
if you side note, this movie is produced by the same two producers who gave us Wild Wild West and a giant mechanical spider.
I know.
So
No, you don't do though, fellas.
We should be happy.
No, you don't.
I'm not saying we should be happy, but
No, I don't want to trash the movie because this is the one thing I love. This movie. This is the one thing that drives me nuts. What were you going to say? Sorry.
Here's what we don't do.
What?
You don't rub another man's rhubarb.
That's whatever the hell that means. Yeah. But he does goad him. That would maybe he's saying like he comes out. The Joker now showed up at Vicky's apartment.
Yeah.
With a couple of goons.
Yeah, this is when we were kind of jumped ahead, but yeah, this is when he shoots.
And when he shoots Bruce,
Batman,
but Bruce goads him into it.
Oh yeah, that's when I was like, "You want to get nuts?" And he grabs the fire poker. Yeah.
But why? Is he so confident that he's going to get shot directly in this tray that he's got in his shirt?
Apparently, he had it all planned.
he's Batman.
I understand he's Batman. That's the ultimate. It's like James Bond.
He's outsmarting the Joker.
Whenever you watch an action sequence in James Bond movies that are totally implausible, the excuse is, well, he's James Bond. He can do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, the ultimate wipe away of all this is he's Batman.
He's Batman.
Which is valid. I'm not invalidating that.
Iron Man couldn't do this.
No, because he's not Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is the scene too, isn't it, where he does the devil pale moonlight quote.
Well, because right
and
before
then,
he shoots him.
Yeah, and then
that's
he
the realization.
starts to, have the memory of the
because right after that we get the flashback, we get the pull the file of my parents,
yes,
all that
yes,
stuff.
Yes.
That's why I think that's the moment that he makes that connection, that realization.
It's all the microfiche.
Yeah. Well, and then Vicky finds out about Bruce's parents too, which is another weird thing. Again, Tim didn't really follow the mythology, but isn't the Waynes getting gunned down like common knowledge in Gotham City? Like
I thought it made newspapers because
they were like a huge.
He was
they were like
a doctor and wanted to be mayor and all that.
All this stuff.
I think she was more interested in what happened to him.
He's like, oh, his parents got gunned down. Like, doesn't everybody know that?
Well, she didn't grow up in Gotham.
Yeah. I understand. I guess that's true, but that just seemed weird to me that Knox wouldn't know, or anybody wouldn't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Bruce Wayne doesn't seem like the big deal that he is everywhere else.
In all the other versions, Wayne is like the Prince of Gotham, basically, right?
He's got to go 1,000 miles to meet someone who didn't know his name.
That's right.
Well, is this the part two where like he takes Vicky back to the Batcave?
Almost.
No, Alfred lets her in the Batcave.
Yes. So.
Well,
I know that's the second time we've tried to get to this part, so let's just talk about it now because you guys just want to talk about it. Well, okay, but it's just ridiculous.
Here's my thing, right?
Yes, get it out. Just let it out.
You were talking about the date thing, right?
Yes.
And it's the first time. So she stuffs the the camera roll down in her bra, right? And then you're telling me Batman gasses her?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And basically steals and feels her up and steals the rollback and then drops her off at home?
Yeah, he Cosby'd her.
That was roofies.
Bat roofies?
Yeah.
Do you think he's just got a jar of them that say that with like a label?
But I have a major problem with Alfred in this movie because, again, not only did he pressure her to marry this girl, and he violated the bro code earlier, and then he straight up just lets her into the Batcave. This woman who's been on one date with Bruce.
Well, and let's not forget, too, that cutaway from the soup scene.
Yes.
Which, have a meal, man. And then he goes into, it's the three of them.
Yes.
Like, all of a sudden, now he's third wheeling on the first date, sharing embarrassing stories about this man's life, who, regardless if he's Batman or not, he's Bruce Wayne. People want to know about him.
Yes.
To a drunken journalist.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, I love you mentioned the soup thing. They carry that into the Batman Returns because he's like, the soup's cold. And he's like, it's fishy swa, sir. It's supposed to be.
And I do love that they called out the ridiculousness of it in the second movie where he's like, who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave? I just turned around like, oh, hey, Vicky, I didn't hear you come in. Right? Like, they just make fun of the fact that, that was really dumb of Alfred. So that was almost like Tim Burton's acknowledging that was really stupid of us to have this in the movie.
Absolutely.
Because the next insane thing that comes out of her mouth is, I've loved you since I met you.
Right.
What?
4 days ago?
Run. The hell out of there. I don't know. That is not.
Can I get, if I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm like, can I get seconds on this back computer? Then you can go. I will fly you anywhere across the country. I'll send you to Metropolis. There's a sick dude over there you want to take a look at.
Just give me 5 minutes.
Where's his underwear outside his suit?
Because honestly, the Joker had just called him out on national television, or at least Gotham television, right?
Absolutely.
Basically saying, like, I've taken off my makeup, which is such a funny thing to say because he literally put it on to cover his white skin.
Yeah, he brown faced. What was up with that?
That's not the same thing. No.
No, but being like,
he was wearing white face on his white face.
Technically, he Caucasian faced himself.
He pink faced.
He pink faced.
Was that pink face?
Well, that was because he's technically really white.
That was milk dud face. Like that. Like, not saying this in a racial way. I'm just saying it's like it was just.
We're not saying you are.
I'm just saying that everything Joker said in that, he says, so truce. That's not true. He's going to kill everybody, right? And he says, I have taken off my makeup. That's also not true. He says, I'm not a killer. He's murdered like countless people. Everything that comes out of his mouth in that scene is a lie. Now he gives like, here's the big Dukaroo, Batman, I'm calling you out, right?
Big Dukaroo.
Right? That's what he calls it. And it's like, let's go. We're about to have it out. And literally he like presses pause, turns around, and there's Vicky Vale. Like, he doesn't have enough to deal with. Now, Alfred's like, I feel like this is the perfect time to just let her,
By the way, it's almost like Alfred's got a tumor, and he's not telling Bruce about. And he's like, you have to have somebody that can take care of you because I'm gonna die soon. So marry the first woman that's willing to say she loves you.
That's right.
Maybe this is what lead up to Batman 4, Batman and Robin, because Alfred's sick in that movie.
He is.
Maybe the whole time he was trying to be like,
he already knew he had
dude,
McGregor syndrome.
that only Arnold Schwarzenegger could cure.
Right.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
No.
You're not
What's
killing me,
insane?
bird boy.
It's insane enough that Vicky says, "I've loved you since I met you," but then 2 minutes later she says, "Are we going to try to love each other?" And Batman's like, "Yes,
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
What?"
I need to settle down, make some bat kids.
He's like, "But right now I've got to go to work." I'm like, dude, get out of there, bro." Right?
When in doubt, go to work.
Thank God Joker had just threatened him. Otherwise, he would have been like, had to make it up. Like, oh, the Riddler's going to blow up the city. I gotta get out.
I got my out.
Right? Batman's always got an excuse to get out of an awkward date.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
You're never doing these dishes. The dishes are piling up. Well, that's why we have Alfred.
I'm sorry.
I don't care. You don't do anything around here.
Two-Face is robbing a bank right now. Gotta go.
My bat watch says it's time.
Is it possible that Batman is or Bruce Wayne is any of the villains? Goes out and does something and be like, oh, hey, look at the news. I gotta go. I gotta
Get out of here.
know,
He just texts Commissioner Gordon, turn the light on.
Oh, look in the sky. I gotta go.
Perfect timing. Sorry, honey. I'll get him next time.
He's got to get.
I'm gonna hire somebody to snowplow the driveway.
Didn't the Incredibles touch great on that? Like superheroes being married, where he goes, "Where's my super suit?"
Oh, that's right.
You know, I threw it away. Give me my suit, woman.
Oh, so this essentially goes into the final showdown, right? Batman murders almost all of his henchmen by blowing up Axis chemicals.
Yeah, and not by himself. He just radio controlled the Batmobile. Through there, yeah.
But Joker wasn't in there. Right. He's in his helicopter.
Yeah, and he's like, "Surprise! I'm up in the skies."
So technically, the Batmobile murdered all those people.
Sure, I guess, and that like a gun is the one that murders people and not the person pulling the trigger.
Right, like drones aren't the one. They're like, oh no, it wasn't us that killed you. It was our drones.
The drone.
My bad.
Yeah.
I will say though, I do enjoy the fact that it's those little balls that drop off the hubs. Like, just like he had to think about that ahead of time. That, you know what, there might be a time where I need my hubcaps to murder a bunch of people. So make this.
That's right. That's right.
Does Batman kill the people that like make his stuff?
No, he's got that awesome mechanic.
Either he creates it himself or Lucius Fox exists and we just didn't see him.
That was a great episode,
right?
The animated series, the mechanic episode.
Or he, at least in the Tim Burton verse, he hires some contractors and then, like somebody built the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Who was
Somebody
that?
had to.
Like Tony at the garage down the street.
Hey, Tony.
He's like, what do you want this thing to look like?
He just unalives people.
I need these balls to drop off.
Can we put a thermonuclear device in the grill of the car?
I need a jet engine.
That's
Can
right.
you get me a jet engine?
Off a 747.
So what you're saying is there's definitely a guy named Tony at a garage that knows who Batman is.
Yeah.
Right?
And does he go as Batman then?
Well, that's the other thing. He could show up to the car dealer or the car place as Batman, and then he never is Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And he pays in cash.
Oh, my God. Can I just tell you how great it would be, though, to see Batman at a used car lot negotiating on the price of some, like, Charger?
Yes.
And, like, I have to come in a little bit lower than that. And then just like showing his utility belt. Like,
right.
How much do you want to charge?
Right. His negotiating tactic is just to say, I'm Batman.
You don't want me to drop a hubcap on you, do you?
Right.
So does he pay in Batcoin or Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
Batcoin.
He can't. That's all traceable to Bruce Wayne. He has to pay in cash. Or Bat Bucks.
Bat Bucks.
or his Batman credit card that leaves the K without it.
Like it's like in his utility belt. Get my bat money. All right, so hold on. We got to get to the showdown here because we're already at an hour and a half.
His wallet, one of the things on his utility belt.
You know how you stop Batman from charging?
This whole
away his credit card.
This whole movie.
Wacko, wacko, wacko.
This whole movie's been leading to, like, the mayor has been talking about this, having this big festival.
There's a mayor in this movie?
There is a mayor in the movie, and he's saying, we got to reinstall the what's the word I'm looking for? But reestablish the public trust, right? And we're gonna have this, 200th anniversary thing. And Joker's like, yeah, I'm gonna show up with a parade float.
He might be the first politician to actually try to do that.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna dump $20 million in cash on the crowd,
Joker bucks,
just to
chump change,
just to ensure that lots of people were gonna be there because he wanted to murder all of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
With gas balloons.
Well, but it's also the idea of like showing how greed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ultimately like greed will be your downfall, and I am going to profit off of it.
Movies used to teach these great lessons, back in the day. And this is absolutely one of them. Yeah. Right. And even Knox rolls up in his car and he's like, get the pictures, like Gotham's greed. Right. And later on, the guy's literally choking on the gas, covering his mouth with bills as he falls on the windshield of the car. It's great. It's great.
Jack Nicholson's absolutely insane in this movie.
But Batman flies in his Batwing and steals all the balloons. Yeah. He stole my balloons. Why didn't somebody tell me he had one of those things?
Yeah.
Bob? Gone.
Bob is
I'm gonna need a minute alone, boys.
Yeah, he kills Bob. Now, is Bob supposed to know that he has a Batwing? Is that Bob's fault that he didn't find out that Batman had a Batwing?
No. But Bob got him a Joker copter. So, I mean, maybe he's just mad that instead of...
Oh, yeah, he's going to regret that Joker.
Yeah, that was a terrible purchase in retrospect.
Horrible. Yeah.
I mean, I think ultimately, though, that's the way it always works, right? Like, the top boss always blames number two.
Well, in a roundabout way, Bob got even with that Batcopter.
That's right.
That Joker copter.
Joker copter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Batman's flying in. He's trying to shoot and bomb Joker. He misses. He's a terrible shot. And Joker, another part as a kid, you're just like, I want one. Pulls out this super long gun.
Did they make those? Like the Joker gun? For that
I don't know if but I mean, it was like, I don't know how long it was. It looks like 6 feet long barrel.
Can I Google this?
You can do whatever you want. And in one shot takes down the Batwing. He is just kind of not even shouldering it, right? He's just like,
You got Batman with all his technology and gadgets.
Right.
Zeroes in on the Joker, misses completely, and Joker goes, let me just one-eye this. I got it.
He's like, bang, Batwing down.
Yep. And before that, though,
Tony's getting fired.
Tony's like, what do you want me to build?
You want me to put scissors in a bat symbol?
Does this thing have to fly, or is it for decoration?
I mean, is it aerodynamic? Yeah, I need it to look like a bat symbol I can fly it in front of the moon.
I got to order the parts. It's going to take at least 72 hours.
And then, oops, forgot to bulletproof it.
Yes.
One pistol bullet.
Oh, my gosh.
Boom, it's down.
Done.
Yeah. There's either a lot of dead plane mechanics or he just shows up as Batman to get those things built. I don't know.
Do you think he went in the following week as Batman and just tows the Batwing in?
With the frick guy.
What is this? I asked you for bulletproof. Dude, it was that or the scissors. I don't know. What did you want from me?
I mean, the stealth bomber was already a thing.
It was.
And Bruce Wayne has money upon money. Why not just buy one of those?
Just buy a stealth bomber.
Then nobody knows you're coming.
That's right.
Because it's stealth.
That's right.
It's
in the name.
Well, Joker takes
kind of bat-like.
Joker takes Vicky, and because they're looking through the smoking wreckage, and Batman doesn't seem to be in there, and he takes her into the cathedral. Okay, and this is essentially into the final showdown, where Batman has got to climb, all the way to the top of this cathedral to fetch, because he says, give me 10 minutes, 5 minutes. He's like, better make it 10 to get to the top of this cathedral, and the helicopter's going to pick them up, and he's going to make his escape. And so Batman's got to get to the top. Yeah. But I have many questions about this.
I have lots of questions too.
How did all the henchmen get up to the top of this cathedral?
And why is Batman not using his grappling hook to shoot up the stairwell?
Because we know he has it. Yeah. Because it gets used later.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
Twice.
It does.
Yeah.
I've played enough Batman games to know you just go RB, and shoot up to the top.
Even if you shoot up to different levels,
right? You still get there.
You don't have to go all the way up and past Joker and go all the way to the bells.
Only the Joker walks into the cathedral with Vicky, but he gets up there and there's 9 henchmen that he's got to defeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before anybody else. And who is the one guy that just owns Batman?
Are you talking about roided out Ray Charles?
Yeah, roided out Ray Charles. Oh, yeah. Just beats the crap out of Batman.
Yeah, and then he just smashes his head into a bell, and that's it. And then Darth Vader death.
But that was hilarious. The gong that came from that because of the dude's head.
Yes.
Had to be solid.
That's just funny dead.
And how, again, comedic moment. Batman stumbles into all the pews.
Yes.
All the way down.
All the way down.
I mean, he who farts in church sits in his own pew.
Jeez. All right.
God bless this podcast.
I don't. Another annoying thing about the final showdown is Joker is dancing with Vicky, and Vicky, here comes Batman trying to sneak up on Joker. So she's like, "Oh, I'm going to distract him by trying to say he's hot and start kissing him and all this stuff."
Not kissing him, his
suit.
freaking suit, and picking lint out of her mouth.
Yes, but here's my thing.
Gross.
Batman doesn't need Vicky Vale to create a distraction to sneak up on anybody.
No,
he's Batman.
the king of it. Yeah,
that's his whole thing.
That's his MO.
Right?
Well, that and pretending like he's knocked out when he gets shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like,
He
no.
lives in the shadows.
Batman could have gotten up on you didn't need to do this stupid thing where Vicky's like, and then Batman's like waves this little wave and then punches him. I just thought that was corny.
No, it was.
Batman should have just swooped down and just snatched
Where
him.
did she go?
What do you mean? Where'd she go?
When she was dancing with him and kissing him all over, then she drops down.
She drops down.
Where did she go?
She just knew Batman was going to punch.
Batman was going to punch him. I think she just ducked.
So instead of just...
I think you're reading in more than what there is
because the
there.
way someone drops down like that, they're not selling Girl Scout cookies.
Okay.
We're talking about Batman, not 9.5 weeks.
That's right.
I'm just saying, when a woman drops down like that,
Well, they have...
wouldn't you push him and then he would just be like, what's up?
I don't know.
But no, I'm going to drop down like this.
That's right. Like an elevator.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They have this great showdown between Joker and Batman where, they have these lines, which you talked about earlier, right? I made you, you made me. I mean, how childish can you get? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
then he's like knocking him out. And then this is when Joker starts to kind of realize he's no match.
Yeah, right.
And he starts busting out I got fake teeth. And
right. Or you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I hit him with something much harder.
When he tries to punch Batman and just breaks his hand on his,
like
armored vest, and all that. It's just great. But he ultimately gets, faked out by Joker, who pulls them over the ledge. And now Batman and her are hanging. And again, Batman in this situation should be in no trouble whatsoever.
No.
Heights and falling and hanging from tall things is his thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why is this putting him in a precarious situation? It should not have been for him.
Plot armor.
It didn't really seem like he was in trouble. He just kind of like, all right, I'm here.
Right, but
I'm just going to hang here for a while, see what you do.
And
Let me give you a hand.
Maybe he's got carpal tunnel syndrome, so it's hard to hang by a hand.
Yeah.
And ultimately
in
we
his
know,
left hand. He's
we
good
know
on his
we got to
right
zoom
hand.
through this a little bit for time's sake, but obviously Batman defeats the Joker, right? He ties his leg to this gargoyle as...
Is that a murder?
Yes.
How is that a murder?
I think it's involuntary manslaughter.
Involuntary
Yes,
manslaughter,
true.
maybe. We'll see.
Which is fine.
Because
he
when
was
he
just tying him to the
fell, he
ladder.
didn't try and save him.
Yeah.
No, he was
Right?
still one-handed hanging on to Vicky.
Well, you saying Batman couldn't just grab Vicky, fly down, save the Joker? He's Batman.
I mean, I would.
Yeah,
I
he
would-
let him die.
That's right. He let him die. He's like,
That time he let him drop.
peace.
That time he let him drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my main question about this. How freaking tall is this cathedral?
Really tall.
Right? When they're at the top and they pull it, it's like miles above the skyscrapers that are in Gotham. And it's still built like a cathedral. Like, what are you trying to tell me? People like back in the day were up, 2,000 feet in the air building this like Sears Tower of a cathedral in Gotham City. It was crazy how tall this building was.
Tall enough that,
You couldn't see the ground.
but tall enough that Joker wouldn't splat when he hit the ground. He just embedded into the concrete.
Right. They were falling for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely.
And even when they caught themselves, they're still not even close
Absolutely.
to the ground. That cathedral was ridiculous.
They're swinging in midair.
Final note. But anyway, Batman wins. Jack dies.
And
And
laugh at the bottom too, though.
yeah,
Now
it's
I know where
weird.
the Six Flags theme song came from.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't want to get copyrighted. I can't. I won't sing the song. All right, guys. Well, look, it's time to move into the final section of our show. And
We're
so
doing this on a good movie?
We're going to do this on a good movie. We're gonna do awards.
This is great. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do awards. We're going to, for the interest of time, we're going to skip over little things today, but we are going to go to awards. And so our Will Patton Award winner for intensity, this is not an acting award, but the actor that you felt was giving the most intense performance. And I have a feeling we're all going to go the same route here, but I don't want to assume anything. So let's start with you. We'll go around. Who's your Will Patton Award winner?
Joker. Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
Batman.
Michael Keaton.
Vicky Vale. No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of this room right now.
The Joker.
Get out.
In particular,
Yes.
doing Jack Palance's line.
Yes.
Jack Nicholson doing that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
over the top.
Yes.
I'm going to say Jack Nicholson too. So Jack will get our Will Patton Award win for intensity. Now our Trash Can Full of Dirt Award is an acting award.
Pat Hingle.
Use a Pat Hingle.
Pat Hingle.
Immediately, without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
Why wasn't I told about this? Who's in charge?
Because,
Oh
My God.
come on, let's go.
Worst commissioner ever.
All right, who do you think's the
I
trash
wanted
can?
mine to go to Eckhart.
To Eckhart.
I just hated that guy.
Yeah, so I have William Hootkins as Eckhart.
Yes.
What's his name?
Eckhart. William Hootkins is his name.
Hootkins.
Hootkins.
Hoot. H-O-O-T, like Hootkins.
I don't give a Hootkins.
I don't give a hoot.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that now.
Yeah, they're drinking Drano. I can't even do the guy's voice. It's like a step above like
Problems I do.
Mike
Sling Blade?
Wazowski, but like a guy.
I thought you were talking about Sling Blade.
No,
with,
he was terrible.
Billy Bob
And
Thornton.
and he's just wandering out there like.
He's
So for me, but-
he's a walking plot device.
He really is. Patrick, how about for you, sir? Who was the
Robert
worst?
Wool.
Robert Wool.
Because we haven't said his name in a while. I don't even know if it's right, if I even said the right name.
He was an overall a minus to the movie, I feel like.
I felt like it's not really his fault, but it stands out to me when he's swinging the baseball bat at one point. It's
Yes.
clearly rubber.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way it's moving.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just like him like karate chopping the trunk to make it open.
I
and
know.
like that to me, I was just like
forgot about that.
And
He's
the
terrible.
fact that he's immediately has never even been on a date with Vicky and
Yes.
just out of his mind, like, oh, don't Bruce. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Marry me. Will you marry me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat light. Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible. Now, we usually do top 3 performances. Is there anybody that, and just let me know so we can, save some time. Is there anybody that's not going to pick either Keaton or Nicholson for their top 2 spots?
No, that,
Okay.
No.
yeah.
No, that's
I don't think
Okay.
anybody.
So we're just saying who's our third favorite then? Because assuming those guys are the top 2,
The Batmobile.
give me a person. Who is your top 3?
Bob the Goon.
Bob, that's who I had. I had Tracy Walter as number 3.
He redeemed himself for me.
Yeah.
Conan.
Absolutely. He got our trash can full of dirt in that movie. Now he's in my top 3 performers for this one.
Mine's a little off key, but I'm going with Billy D. Williams
Billy D. Williams.
because I wanted to see him as Two-Face so bad.
Yeah.
And I was redeemed, thankfully, with Lego Batman.
yes, they did. They allowed him to do that.
Yes.
That was awesome.
And I thought it would have been a great Two-Face.
Yeah.
He would have been.
And it would have been the Tim Burton version of Two-Face, which who knows how weird that would have been.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Can't hate that
I mean,
choice.
I just think he was like,
yeah.
just the cool guy that's gonna take down everybody.
That's right.
He smoked that cigar with honor and business. I like the way he smoked that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, normally at this point we would answer the big question, right? We would say, okay, is this a bad movie? Is this a bad movie that rules,
I
or
thought
is
this
it
was another question you're going to say? Does this movie better with Schwarzenegger in it? And I would just say,
No, that's after this.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm getting to it. Or is it a straight up good movie? And I feel like, I don't know. Is this a good movie that's good? Is that the question we're going to ask? I feel like this is without a doubt. Yeah, it's got its stupid things, which we paid some attention to. But you can't say this is a bad movie or even a bad movie that rules, right? I mean, if
No.
one of you wants to make that argument, I'll allow you to. But
It's a good movie that rules better.
yeah,
It actually ages very well with time.
it's not one of those movies you go back 20 years later and you're like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I shared it with my kid, man, and she loved it.
Tim
Yeah.
Burton's.
So I saw it yesterday. It's similar to you. Like I hadn't
Yeah.
seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
I will say though that some of the plot inconsistencies that were pointed out here today that I hadn't thought of makes me a little less. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but
No.
there is part of me. It's like, you know what?
Why didn't I see that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this. The Vicky Vale, how quickly that all kind of like it.
That was
really-
the biggest thing for me.
But it's a thread through the whole thing.
The whole thing. It just never is dropped.
And Alfred, like, I didn't realize, like, just how many times he just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Sam Hamm, who co-wrote the script, said on that Batman anniversary edition, that he really regretted having Vicky Vale in the Batcave and a lot of that stuff that you guys are touching base on. He said, yeah.
Well, at least he copped to it. At least he copped to it.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But you feel like this is a good movie that's good, Bob?
Dude, it's an awesome movie. Like Tim Burton's Batman films will stand the test of time, which I think
they already have.
They already have, and I think they laid the groundwork. And we have you have Christopher Reeve as Superman in the Superman films, which the first two Superman films are great, but then you have Batman, which I think like to me, Batman literally started this pyramid of DC and Marvel and all these films that we enjoy now.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't get it without.
Yeah, I think the three big ones that really made it possible was Superman obviously broke the mold, the first one.
Laid the foundation. Batman was like, just took the whole thing, the summer blockbuster thing to new
Spider-Man?
heights.
Yeah.
No, I would say X-Men was the one when that came out.
Right.
That was just like, after X-Men hit,
Yeah, and then Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
then all that
2002.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
So
Great.
those movies and I'll throw Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, those four kind of the ones that I would credit with.
Blade.
Yeah, Blade was more of an underground thing, but Blade has aged well too. Blade is still good.
Yeah.
The first Blade
absolutely.
was very good.
So the other question we always ask is, would Arnold Schwarzenegger have made this movie better? And of course, the answer, as it always is yes.
What?
Of course he would have.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, how good.
As the Joker. Look at this. Your face doesn't communicate in audio format.
Turn off.
So the only thing I'm going to say about this, because we were talking about
I'm
Batman
kidding
and
about
Robin,
the Joker, but yes.
Batman and Robin.
Yes.
The only
We're going to do
reason-
an episode on that.
But
too.
listen to me. The only reason that movie is even tolerable is because Arnold
Thank you.
Schwarzenegger is fantastic as
Thank
Mr.
you.
Freeze.
It's still
in there.
watchable because of that.
You know what? George Clooney's Bruce Wayne is not that bad.
Okay, so we're going to do a whole episode on Batman and Robin, and so we'll
Yes.
get into all of that
Can't
at some
wait.
point, okay? I think Arnold might be, well, let's see. Let's find a part that Arnold would be better at. Harvey Dent?
No,
I can see him as Harvey Dent.
I don't want him in there as Harvey Dent. What if we just made him the commissioner?
Why?
What Knox?
How about no?
Oh my gosh, Knox!
No.
Oh my
You wouldn't
gosh.
say he'd be better than Robert Wool? You just said Robert Wool sucked in the part.
Why?
Yeah, he did.
Pat, what are you thinking?
I want to see the role of him reduced out of the movie more than anything. So, no.
The mayor of Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon.
No.
He's better than he's
would
better
say-
than Pat Hingle.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
Would you have crooked cops if your commissioner was built like that? You're like, no, I'm straight and narrow.
You put a gray wig on him and he's Alfred. He would have been way better than this other guy.
Well, anybody that doesn't bring the chicken to the Batcave would have been better.
She would have.
all good.
Alfred would have. You know what?
Yeah.
Before I even got to Bruce.
I will tell you, though, it
Bruce
would
would
be
have had
interesting.
Alfred sloppy seconds.
I think they should have had the voice of the Batmobile as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We appreciate everybody that you've hung with. And hopefully, well, obviously, if you're here at the end, you made it past. I'm a little nervous people won't make it past the first 10 minutes when we're just trashing the movie, that they're just going to say, yeah, forget this episode.
It's April Fool's. They
It's
better figure
April
it out.
Fool's Day, okay? We took an opportunity. It happened on a Friday this year. That's when we release our episodes, that we had a chance to, pull a little fast one and talk about a good movie and rip on it
And
for a
how
while.
fun. How
Yeah.
fun of an episode to do.
Absolutely. And so we all sat here and we're like, what's a beloved movie? And we threw different ideas out there. We're like, E.T. was thrown out at one point. Jurassic Park was thrown out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just movies that just are beloved, Ghostbusters, that are beloved by everybody. And I know that you two guys are big Batman fans. And I thought, why don't we just do like a beloved Batman movie, which is, 1989. So I think ultimately it was a fun idea.
Absolutely.
And next week, we're going to go back to talking about bad movies. And man, do we have one of the worst ones ever. This one's rated like a 3.8 on IMDb. It's bad. And we already did the first one. Now we're doing Iron Eagle 2.
Oh, wow.
With Lou Gossett Jr.
Aren't there
Man.
5 of them?
There's 4 of them.
Okay.
And there's 5 American Ninja movies. We're going to go through all of those as well. But Iron Eagle 2 will be next week. So look out for that one. And the first one was already bad. I can't imagine how much worse this next one is going to be.
It's got Louis Gossett Jr. It can't be that bad.
Oh, don't say that, because I've seen Iron Eagle 4 and it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, like Mel Brooks and Leslie Nielsen, right? You'd think, great.
Can't be
And then
bad.
Dracula Dead and Loving It
Yes.
was made by both of them
On purpose.
intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's a rough one.
So join us next week, guys, for Iron Eagle 2. In the meantime, thank you for listening. I'm James Hauser on behalf of Patrick Riley, Bob Hauser, and Kurt Mummer. Thank you for listening. Make it an awesome day.
Do you know what you call it when Batman skips out on church?
What?
Christian Bale.
Okay.